Hello fellow NECA Aliens fans, this is Solid Dave Snake, and I'm bringing you my first review on the newly released NECA Alien Series 3 action figures, and I thought I would do the first review on the figure that I was looking forward to most out of this wave, and it is the dog alien from the Alien 3 movie. And in this series, there are 3 different figures, and each figure represents a different movie from those first 3 films. Of course, we have the dog alien, which is the xenomorph from the 3rd movie. And then I will also be doing Bishop, the android from Aliens, and Kane, the original host for the xenomorph from the first Alien movie. So I'll be doing all of these, but I definitely was looking forward to this dog alien the most. And the 3rd Alien movie in general gets a lot of flack from the fans, and I could see why in a lot of cases, because those first 2 movies are my personal favorite as well, but I liked a lot of the elements that the 3rd movie had, and the dog alien being the biggest of those. I like how the movie went back to that original kind of sci-fi horror like how the first movie was. The second was more of a sci-fi action, and I thought this 3rd movie went back to that more horror feel with only a single xenomorph. And one thing that I love from the xenomorph mythology is that whatever host that the alien facehugger goes on to, whatever it hatches out of, it's going to take the form of. And of course, in this movie, the facehugger gets on a pit bull, so the alien has that dog-like form. As you can see from the figure right here in front of us, it definitely has that overall anatomy of a dog. And also, if you haven't seen, I went back and did a action figure comparison video. I'll put a link in the description below to the original dog alien made by McFarlane Toys back in 2003. So if you want to see this figure compared to that figure and a closer look at the McFarlane one, go ahead and check that out. But we'll just dive right into this NECA one right now. I definitely felt like this was the superior of the 2 and is a great representation of the xenomorph from the movie. NECA does a great job with the details of holding the likeness. And we'll just start right at the top part of the dome, and you can see that they went back to a translucent dome in this movie. In the second movie, the aliens kind of took on a more rigid dome, where in the first one it was clear and you could see inside the dome. It actually had the skull of the human a little bit towards the front. Now with the dog, it wasn't like that. It gets dark towards the front of the dome. But further back, you can see it is transparent, and you can see ridges underneath that clear plastic. And they did a great job detailing the sculpt underneath the dome in the face. And just like with the previous xenomorphs from NECA, you can open the jaw about that far. And of course it has the inner jaw as well, which you can pull out, and that's done in more of a stilly kind of color scheme, and is actually a little transparent. It might be hard to pick up on the camera, but you can actually see through it a little bit. But that inner jaw is nice. I love that function on these NECA figures. And of course you can get the jaw closed completely shut as well. And it kind of snaps up in there and locks in place. Move this hand out of the way, and I'll show you up under the jaw where that hinge is. You can see where it's not connected. It kind of locks onto that point of the jaw. And the color scheme they went overall with this dog alien is exactly how it was colored in the movie. With, of course, it has dark colors all over, but it kind of has that bronzy type of almost corroded metal type color scheme going on all throughout. And I'm just amazed at how well NECA is able to keep the anatomy of these figures. I mean, it looks exactly like the dog alien, and still be able to have all this articulation the way it is and keep the detail. His arms are very long, and I'll show it whenever I go over the articulation, but this figure is actually taller than those original Xenomorph action figures. A whole inch taller. This dog alien will stand about 10 inches tall if you completely stretch out his legs. Great detail on the underside. You can see all the different rib segments. Just a lot of sculpted detail, and just a great sculpt overall all through here. Now the kind of hip bone right here is connected to the leg on that McFarlane when it was actually on the upper part of the back. So I like how they did this. And of course the hands and feet have that almost conjoined finger look like previous Xenomorphs have had. Great detail on the underside. Now the feet have great detail on top, but if you can see, it kind of has this pad sculpted in right here to give you peg holes. But really you do not need stands with this figure, and he actually came with a base, but I don't even really use it. I've been using it to help hold up the NECA Alien Queen's tail, but it does come with a display base, although I haven't needed it with this figure that has a hinge right here, so you can move that little C-clip up here, and you can rotate it here at the base or completely remove it, but then what would be the point of it? But that is nice that it came with a display stand with an arm like that. And moving back onto the alien, he does have a bendy tail too, which is a nice detail, and there is excellent detail throughout. All these different segments running through here, they get smaller, leading all the way up to the end of the tail, which, just like in the movie, it has a big blade at the end. He's looked, this alien's tail looked a lot more nastier than previous aliens in the movies, and it's real flexible. But articulation wise, this figure is incredible. And let me get him all the way stretched out here so you can see how tall this figure actually stands. And the posing options are just very, very massive with this figure. As much articulation as it has. Well, I'm going to have to take my camera in a free mode because you can't even see how tall he is. But he stands at about almost 10 inches tall whenever you get those joints all the way stretched out. So very impressive. But let's go from head to toe here. At the head, he has some impressive articulation, although I wish you could go a little further back. That's as far back as you can go, and you can go really far forward. So that's nice. You can get him with that head down whenever they're balled up, kind of look really nice with this one. And then of course you can move it from side to side because there is a ball joint up top here, and then there is a hinge at the lower portion of the neck, which that will move, get you that extra movement down. So nice head articulation. At the shoulders, he's got a ball joint and a hinge, which will move that far out and of course rotate all the way around. He's got double hinged elbows, just like previous aliens, which you can get really far up and extend straight and rotate on both ball joints. And at the wrist, he has a ball joint and hinge, so you can get full rotation and get him that far down and that far up. You can get those nice crawling poses with him. He does have a ball joint at the waist, which you can get him leaned that far back and that far forward and rotate around. Although if you get a lot of NECA products, you'll notice some joints get loose, and my diaphragm joint is getting loose. So be careful for that. At the hips, he's got a ball joint and a hinge, which will rotate all the way around. But I don't want to do that because of this hip bone. And you can swivel it in from side to side. He's got double jointed knees, which will get all the way back. You can get both ends of the legs to touch each other and all the way straight. And then he has that extra joint right down here for that dog-like look. It's a single ball joint, so you can get the full hinge out of it in rotation. And then another one down here at the feet, which you can get all the way straight and back up and rotate around. And his tail has a cut right here, so you can rotate it there, but the rest of the tail is a bendy wire, so you can never go wrong with bendy wire and tails. It's really the ultimate articulation piece for figures with tails, and it's really long. Oh, another thing to note on this figure, he has none of those pipes coming out of the back, which is representative of the character in the movie, of the creature in the movie. I always thought that was neat with the dog alien, because those warriors that always came out of the humans had those pipes. So adds a certain different look to this alien too. So awesome detail, likeness, articulation. This is just a great figure if you're an Alien fan, and really a must pick up in that case. But I'm sure they'll be reusing this mold whenever they get into their Kenner tribute line, because this figure can have a lot of good pieces to reuse for the Panther alien and even Bull and some of the others they may be doing. But excellent figure, guys. Gets a high recommendation from me, and stay tuned for future reviews from the Alien Series 3 from NECA. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Later.